Good morning, my beautiful friends. Wow, have I had an emotional weekend. There's been a lot of beautiful moments, a lot of heartfelt moments, a lot of simple, blissful moments. And I want to unpack a bit of this a little bit. I don't know about you, but I have reached a time in my life where I don't want any superficial stuff anymore, okay? There are definitely moments where it's okay to have kind of a little bit of a chat that isn't too deep and meaningful, but most of the conversations that I want to have, most of the people that I want to be around, most of the messaging that I want to share, most of the wisdom that I want to learn from other people is deep. I just really like going deep. I can't explain it. It just fills my soul up. I guess I've just hit a point in my life where I just don't want any more BS. I just want real, deep, meaningful conversations. Sometimes they're easy to have, sometimes they're hard to have, and sometimes it's just, I guess it just fills you up with so much fulfillment. It fills you up with so much more purpose. I want to have conversations that you can learn from. I want to hear people's perspective who've gone before me. I want to learn from people. I want to embody really deep, meaningful people and conversations along the way. I've just hit that point in my life, and I know many of you have as well, because I hear it from people all the time. They say to me in the studio or in messages that they're just finding that they don't align with people so much anymore, or friendships are falling apart, or they're just not interested in nurturing existing relationships that they have, or they're just sick of superficial conversations at work. And I get it, and I fully understand, and I just want to give you, I guess, just that knowing that this is a good place to be at. And I know it can be hard, and I know it can be challenging. Actually, speaking of that, I was reading in this book that I'm still studying. I've spoken about a few podcast episodes, The Untethered Soul by Michael Singer. And in this chapter that I'm up to, it says one of the essential requirements for true spiritual growth and deep personal transformation is coming to peace with pain. No expansion or evolution can take place without change, and periods of change are not always comfortable. Change involves challenging what is familiar to us and daring to question our traditional needs for safety, comfort, and control. This is often perceived as a painful experience, but becoming familiar with pain is a part of your growth. Even though you may not like the feeling of the inner disturbance, you must sit quietly inside and face them if you want to see where they come from. Once you can face your disturbances, you will realize that there is a layer of pain deep-seated in the core of your heart. This pain can be uncomfortable, can be challenging, can be destructive to the individual self, that your entire life is spent avoiding it. Your entire personality is built upon ways of being, thinking, acting, and believing that were developed to avoid this pain. Since avoiding the pain prohibits you from exploring the part of your being that is beyond that layer, real growth takes place when you finally decide to deal with this pain, because the pain is at the core of the heart and it radiates out and affects everything that you do. So what I want to talk to you about today is, I guess, a couple of painful experiences that we're all going to have in our life, and a conversation that I had with my beautiful Uma, with my grandmother on the weekend. So we're still on the weekend at the time of recording. It's Sunday, and I've just had a weekend where I felt so connected, so in tune with so many beautiful little moments. I've had moments where I've been out swimming at the front. We've got this beautiful jetty and sand and broad water, and I've watched the sunrise over the water, just taking in the morning. I've been out swimming with my dogs, and my husband. We've just been out talking out in the water, playing with the dogs as they swim, just really feeling grounded, feeling the sand under my feet, floating in the ocean, and just feeling like the sun on my skin and feeling the cleansing of the salt water on my body. I've had moments where we've been out with family this weekend. We've had friends have dropped by that haven't seen our house yet, and they've come over, and we've just had beautiful conversations, and just sitting out on our deck with a glass of wine, a nibble, some nibblies, some friends, and just really connecting again. I had a moment where on last night, actually, it was so beautiful. I love Jack Johnson, and I often listen to Jack Johnson radio, and I was cooking dinner with Tom. The kids were out, and we were just in you can picture this, like we've got this beautiful, this home that we're renovating. It's quite earthy. You can see by some of the colors around me if you're watching on YouTube. It's kind of neutral, earthy tones. We have created like this beautiful, really white timber look throughout the home, and this kitchen that we have designed together with just elements of brushed brass, that kind of gold, white and earthy colors with some timber and white cabinetry and a bit of like green plants in the background. It just feels so beautiful. And we have this beautiful gas strut window that we put in, that we open up, and it just lets all the elements come in. Like sometimes it's not that great when you're putting spices in your dinner and this sea breeze kind of blows your spices across the kitchen bench or across your stove, but it's a really peaceful, it is so peaceful where we are, and that's what drew me to this new change. And we were just having a moment where we were cooking dinner. I had my Jack Johnson radio on. I always like candles, or have like a scented candle or incense and just little tea light candles, but I had a beautiful scented candle in the background. We had this music on, and we kind of turned the music up, just feeling those weekend vibes, right, of just hanging out together. We were just singing, and I was dancing. Tom doesn't dance, but we were just kind of singing to, beautiful songs like Somewhere Over the Rainbow, come on, Country Road, our favorite. There's another Country Road song by Jack Johnson, and Paula, her name starts with F. It's just a gorgeous song that Tom and I love, and Xavier Rudd, and we were just singing and listening to What a Wonderful World. That's another one of my favorite songs in the whole world, and just being so connected, enjoying the cooking, enjoying the experience together, just enjoying this really beautiful moment. We had the lights dimmed down low, and it was just so fulfilling to my soul. And why I'm telling you this is sometimes we can get so connected to technology, like we're cooking dinner, you got the TV on, you're not really connecting with people, or even yourself, you're distracted on your phone and things like that. I invite you to just have moments where you can bring more peace into your home, where you can bring more ambience, whether it's through candles, nice lighting, nice fragrance, incense, oils, and just connection. Just getting off technology, the TV, getting away from distractions, and just really connecting. And it's amazing how it really puts you in a beautiful state of being in that present moment. And it kind of, when you have these present moments, I've noticed, like we've traveled so much over the years, and the moments that I remember, with my kids, are when I was so present. And so I know that more presence helps embed these memories in your heart and soul. And I said to Tom, I said, this moment will live on in my heart forever. I know it's just so simple. We're just cooking dinner, but we're so connected, and it's really, really beautiful. And so I want to inspire you and encourage you to cultivate moments like that with your loved ones, or with yourself, or with, bringing the elements of nature in, a nice fragrance, and just really feeling so connected in your home, in your space, in your wherever it is. And we had a moment where also we're coming up to the anniversary of Tom's dad's passing. And I said to him, we were sitting there talking, just listening to music, and you can just feel people's emotion. I could just feel like a bit of emotion around thinking about his dad, and how much his dad would love where we are now, the crabbing, like throwing the crab pots off the jetty, the fishing, the real relaxed charm of this older house that we've got. And Tom and I were kind of talking about that, and there was a lot of emotion around that, and I just had to hold space for him. And it's hard seeing loved ones that you just love and adore so much, feeling that a bit of pain. But it's just really important just to hold that space for them, and just to be there for them. So I've had so many moments this weekend of just deep conversations with my kids, actually, too. I've had some beautiful moments of deep conversations with my kids, just in those kind of fly by moments where they'll come up and share about their day, or things that I've noticed in myself that I've had to work on, that I've kind of shared with my kids as well. And it's just been one of those weekends, I guess, where I've just been really connected. And what I want to really dive into today is, I had a conversation with my Orma, and to put it in context so you kind of know, she's not in a home. She's 85 about to have her 85th birthday, and she's well, like definitely losing mobility, definitely getting around with the aid of like the wheelie thing and walkers and things like that. But her mind is so good, and she's with it. Like she's in a really great she's in a good place, in a really good place in terms of she's not on her deathbed. She is not losing her mind or losing her memory, but her body's failing her a bit getting to that point in life. And she's living with family members, so my mum and dad's. So she's surrounded by love, and she's surrounded by people, and she's definitely kind of not what you would say like in palliative care. Like this is a conversation that you might have with people who are at that stage of life. But just to put it in context, my grandmother is still quite well, generally quite well. And I was talking with her. We were out at the at a local tavern on the weekend for a family member's birthday, and I went and sat with her, and I said, "Oh, are you okay? I've been sensing a few things over the last probably couple of months," and I said, are you okay?" And she said to me, "I miss my home." And I said, "I understand that." She had a beautiful apartment on Currumbin Beach overlooking the ocean. And I said, "I completely understand that." And she said, like my Ulpa wouldn't want to see me like this now. And I said, "What do you mean by that?" And she said, "I am on my, by myself. I really miss him." And we spoke about how much she misses him. And I said to her, like, I'm not going to dive into everything fully personal, but I'm going to give you the gist of what we're talking about. And I said to her, I completely understand. Yes, I can't understand what you're experiencing because I haven't experienced it myself. But I've said to Tom, and I've said to him, how do we die together? Like, how do we get to that point in our life? We've been together since we were 16. My grandmother has been with Ulpa since they were young as well, like 16 and 20 and probably 15. She had my dad really young. She had my dad at 16. And she said, and I said to her, I said, I get it, because like I've said to Tom, how do we just go out together? Because it would be so hard for the one of us, the person that is left behind, when you've been together like your whole entire life. So I said, Alma, I understand, but I don't understand. I'm not there yet. And I just listened to her. I listened to her share with me about how she's feeling and the love that she has for her, for all of us and for the family. And she said a few things to me. We spoke about that, and she said, sometimes I go to sleep and I think to myself, I don't want to wake up anymore. I don't want to wake up in the morning. And she looked at me, and this is a hard thing to hear. Like, obviously it's a very hard thing to hear by someone that you love and adore more than anything in the world. And she said, and I say that sometimes, like I'll say it to your mom or your dad or to, to the family, and they say, don't say that, Alma. Like, don't say that. Don't be silly. Don't talk like that. You're very well, like encouraging her. And we encourage her with so much more mobility, to walk a lot more, to get around a lot more, to move her body a lot more, to really, because we want her to keep going, right? Like, we love and adore her so much, and we want her to be mobile, be healthy, to not end up in aged care where we can keep her with us, right? So we were having a conversation around how, she said, I don't want to wake up anymore. And I said to her, I said, that's okay. I think she expected me to say what other family members have said, which is don't talk like that, because that's our natural instinct, right? Our natural instinct is just to keep our loved ones close to us and to never let them go. And I said to her, I said, Alma, that's okay. If you feel like that, that is honestly okay. I said to her, I said, I don't understand what it's like, because I'm not there yet, to be in your body, to be at that stage of life, to have lost my husband, to have been not living in my own home, not having my body being able to do what it used to do anymore, having someone have to care for me and take care of me, and losing that independence and losing that freedom and losing that you know, the home that you had that was your own, losing your own space, losing your husband. I said, I don't understand because I'm not there yet, but I understand that it must be so a really hard place in your life to be at. And I said, Alma, if you feel like that, that's okay. And she looked at me like, it's, you know, when you kind of look in someone's soul and you can just look into their eyes and you just have just so much love and you hold space for them and so much empathy for them. And just, it's like you just see their soul, like you just are talking to their eyes and you just see their soul in their, behind their eyes. And she said, but I look around and I see, like she was looking, we were at the head of the table, like looking down the table. And she said, I see all my family, you know, like your kids are so beautiful, and look at all my grandkids and my kids, and I see, and my boys, and I see all my family, and I love them so much. Like I just love them so much. And obviously she doesn't want to leave them, you know, she doesn't want to leave them behind. And I said, Alma, what you've got to understand is people say that to you, like meaning, you know, don't say that, don't say silly things like that. You're still well, you're still healthy. I said, they say that out of their needs and out of our needs. And I said, I want to say the same thing, you know, like I absolutely want to say, I don't want to sit here and say to you, it's okay, when you're ready to go, you can go. I said, that's the hardest thing in the world. And it's hard saying that, you know, we don't want to imagine life without you. I said, but I look at you and I see, look what you've created. And we looked down the table at all the family and I said, look what you've created. Look at all, you've done this, you know, you and Ulpa have done this. I said, I would be humbled and honored to get to this point in life where I can sit there and I can look at all the family and all the love that you've shared and all the experiences that you've had. I said, this is a blessing. Like this is a real honor for what you've achieved. And if you feel like you've reached your time, that's okay. And oh my God, that's hard to say. Like it is so hard to have that conversation. And when I said that to her, she said to me, she goes, oh, I've got shivers, I've got chills. And she said, like, my body's shaking. I feel chills. And I said, Alma, it's okay. I said, that's your soul release. That's your body. Like, yeah, that's a release. Like what you've told me, you've been hanging on to this for, I don't know how long you've been hanging on to this, because you don't say things because you don't want to upset people. She said, that's right. She said, I want to keep this stuff to myself because I said, Alma, I know what you like. She's such a beautiful, gentle soul. I said, you say what you think people want you to say and what you think people need to hear. I said, with me, she goes, I love talking to you, my dear. I can talk to you about anything. And she just, in this whole conversation, right, she's hugging me, she's kissing me. I've got my arms around her and we're in the middle of a tavern and it felt like there was no one else around. And I had tears welling up in my eyes. I'm trying to be brave for her, but I'm also feeling a lot of emotion. I was sharing this with Riley afterwards, and because she said, I saw you, Mum, I could see you crying. She goes, how can you talk like that in the tavern? Like, how can you have that? There's people everywhere, like you're crying and there's people everywhere. I said, Riley, in that moment, I don't care. Like in that moment, it's irrelevant. It feels like it's just me and Alma in the room and nobody else. And I know my family could, you know, sense I was having a deep conversation, and they know my Alma talks to me a lot, and they kind of just gave us some space. And I said to Riley, I said, in that moment, it can just feel like when you're having a heartfelt conversation with people, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter where you are. I said, it come up with Alma when she needed to say those words, and I was just there and I sat there. It would be, yes, probably more comfortable to have in a private conversation at home, but she needed to get it off her chest and she needed to share that with me. And she knows that she's in a safe space with me, that she can say things to me and there's no judgment. I've had many conversations with her over the years. I think more so since my Ulpa passed away, and she knows that she can just be free to express herself and say what she needed to say. I've had other conversations with her too, where she's had like that chill, the chill go through, and she's like, what's happened? I've got a chill. And I said, this is okay, right? Like this is, your body is releasing, your body is letting go of something it's been carrying, whether she shared stuff with me that she's held for 60 years. And in this moment, she shared something with me. I don't know how long she's been carrying that for. It could be weeks, it could be months, could be the last year. I'm not sure. But I said to her, I said, this is a release. Like this is your body's way of going, phew, thank goodness. Like I've got that off my chest, and a big release. And it could be a release of her soul as well. Like that feeling of just letting go. And in that moment, you know, like we had this really beautiful, touching conversation that was so hard to have. Like, you have no idea. Like, it was so hard where I'm sitting there holding back tears, but I'm not completely immune to my emotion. There was still tears, and she would wipe my tears and go, I don't want you to cry, dear. And I said, it's okay, Alma. Like, it's okay. This is, obviously I'm feeling it's hard for me to hear what you're saying, but you know, there's no judgment. You know that I can just be here and listen. I said, did you want to talk to other members in the family about that, or do you just want to have this conversation with me? And she said, I'll just talk to you, dear. I said, that's okay. That's perfectly okay. And we spoke about that. We spoke about her beautiful family. We spoke about, I said to her, I said, are you at peace? Do you really feel at peace with this? And she said, I do. I really do. And I said, that's good. Like, you know, like that's really important, is that you feel at peace. And this whole conversation I'm having with her was I felt it was the hardest conversation I've ever had to have. Because imagine having this with someone, they're not on their deathbed, they're not in palliative care, they're not, you know, it's not like the last conversation. And I don't know how long this process is going to take, but I said to her, well, I felt to my heart and soul, I said, this is the hardest conversation that I've ever had to have, but it's also the most effortless conversation that I've had to have, because I've done a lot of work on myself. I'm an empath. I listen to people. I just feel so much emotion, and people open up to me about anything and everything, because I'm a safe space. I'm a safe space to I just hold that space for people, and I honestly have no judgment. And so it was a hard conversation, yet it was an easy, effortless conversation, but a lot of emotion. I got in the car and bawled my eyes out. Like, I cried the whole way home. And then I said to my dad when we were leaving, you know, like, is everything okay with Alma? I saw you having some conversation with Alma, so I just gave you some space, which I know is hard for my dad to do too, because my dad loves talking and sharing and wanting to help. It's where I get a lot of this from. And my mum's so kind-hearted and compassionate and beautiful and loving as well. I get a lot of that from both of them. And I said to Dad, I said, she's done. I said, Dad, I know it's really hard for you to hear, but I said, she's ready. And he's like, but why? She's got all of this family, you know, she's got all of us, she's still got so much to live for, and she's still in a reasonably good state, right? I said, I know that, Dad. I said, but we don't know what it's like to get to that point in our life, because we're not there yet. We don't know what it's like to have done 84 years. We don't know what it's like to live the rest of your life without the partner that you've had for your whole entire life. We don't know what it's like to get to that stage in your life where you're having someone have to clean up after you or to help you, where your body's giving out, where you're not being as mobile as you used to be able to do, where you can't do the things that you used to be able to do. We don't understand. I said, so all we can do, yes, we want to help her keep walking. Yes, we want to help her keep mobile. But you know what? I think we just need to hold space for her, and just to listen, and to let her do what she needs to do, and just to talk to her and be a sounding board for her, and just be at peace with her decision, and give her the time and the space to just do what she needs to do, and not try and get her to keep moving anymore. And that's hard, right? Like, that's hard. It's a hard conversation for me to have with my grandmother, and it's a hard conversation for me to have with my dad, saying, Dad, like, we just have to let her be now, because I see how much he adores her, and he loves her so much. And I've said to Tom, I said, man, I hope Brock treats me like that in my older age. I hope and I know he will, but you know, you wonder with the kids, because we're at that point in their life where kids can be completely self-absorbed. And I said, I hope he really like just treats me with that, like my Alma is like on a pedestal to my dad, and my dad's like on this pedestal to me. And I just really, it's a hard conversation to have with Dad, because I know how much he loves and adores her. And I said, Dad, we just have to let her be. And I, you know, I obviously love him and care about him more than anything, and was hugging him and talking to him and talking to my sisters about this. And it's a really challenging conversation to have. But do you know what is interesting? I opened Instagram the other day, and there's a post that come up from a yoga teacher that I met in my yoga teacher training. And she put up a beautiful post that she had a conversation with a woman in her 90s. I'm not sure the relevance of the conversation, whether it's someone that she knows or loves, whether it's somebody in her space as a teacher. But she was saying how she had this confronting conversation with this older woman in her 90s around death, and how she had this beautiful conversation and she held space. And she said how nobody had held space for this woman like she had held space. And she spoke to her about the peacefulness about death, about crossing over and everything. And now looking back, I randomly come across that Instagram post. Like, I haven't seen anything from her feed for I don't know how long. And I go, I was meant to see that because it was preparing me for a conversation that I was about to unknowingly have. We're just going out to dinner with the family. And this whole conversation has just spilled out because I just know that in that moment, she needed to get that off her chest. But also it was like, I think her soul was after our blessing. Her soul was after, because she's the kind of woman, and I know a lot of women out there are like that, where she does everything for everybody else. Her whole life has been spent doing things for other people, caring for her family, and putting her own needs before everybody else's. And that's just the kind-hearted, beautiful, compassionate soul that she has always been. And I've learned a lot from that it's almost like she felt guilty. She's ready to go, but she feels guilty for leaving us. She's ready to go and be with my grandfather, but she feels guilty for how it's going to leave us feeling behind and the impact that it's going to have on everybody. That it's like she was after a blessing, permission, not that she needed permission, but a blessing, and just that it's okay just to hear those words, like it's okay to do what you need to do. And by her having the big chills and having and like she was even saying, like, I feel like it's a bit hard to breathe. And I know it was really hard in her heart to have that conversation and to see me upset and to let go of her family. But it was one of the most beautiful conversations. I've journaled all about it. I've written it down so I can capture it, and maybe my kids will read my journal and learn about it one day. But I needed to share that with you because it's so important to hold space for people. It's so important. Everybody's going to go through challenging times. Everybody's going to go through letting people go, through the loss of loved ones, we don't know what's going to unfold, right? We absolutely don't know what's going to unfold. But sometimes from our own selfish needs, we want to hold people close to us. We don't want to let them go. We don't want things to change. We don't want to experience pain. We don't want to go through the trauma of losing someone. We don't want to go through the loss of losing someone. We don't want to see our loved ones hurt. We don't want to see our loved ones go through pain. And that's a normal human experience. But sometimes when you look on a soul level, when you look in someone's eyes and you talk to someone on a soul, or you just sit there and you just hold space and you just hear the outpouring of their soul, it's a beautiful gift to give someone. It's a beautiful gift to give to yourself. It's a beautiful gift to hold space for those people around us. And it's a beautiful gift and it's a hard thing, and it takes a lot of courage and a lot of inner peace and a lot of inner connection with your soul and connection with their soul to sit there and to have some really challenging conversations. And I don't know why I'm sharing this with you. I wasn't going to share this with you, but part of me felt like I needed to have this chat. Part of me went, you know what, I'm just going to get on and record it, and if I publish it, great. If I share it, great. If not, this will just be a great journal entry for me. But I know I'll share it. I know that I just put out there these episodes and I go, you know what? This isn't going to be right for everybody. You might skip past this and you might go back another time and go, I remember a conversation or I remember a podcast title that I think I need to go back and hear it. You might be scrolling through and you might need to hear it. You might be hearing it now, bracing yourself for something that's about to come in the future. I don't know, but all I know is I'm just the messenger. I just record what intuitively comes through for me and I put it out there, and I just trust that if someone needs to hear it, they will. If not, that's okay too. If only one person needs to hear it, that's okay. So I'm going to publish it. I am going to share it, even though at the time of me recording, I didn't know whether I was going to have the courage to or not. Because the other thing is, I don't know, like, you know, me having this conversation, I'm still sitting in the unknown. Actually, it's funny. I pulled a card the other day, literally yesterday, and it said unknown. I am sitting in the unknown. I don't know how long my grandmother has left. I don't know. Like, I went to bed last night going, is she going to die in her sleep tonight? Like, is this it? Is she going to, how long? She could be with us for another 2 years. She could see all of her family on her birthday. It's her birthday on Valentine's Day. All the family's coming over this afternoon. She could see, like, you know, all of her family and then be at peace that she's seen everybody and not tell anybody how she's thinking and feeling because she's shared this with me, but just knowing in her heart that she's kind of touched base with everybody, that she's seen everybody. I don't know. She could be with us for 4 days, 4 months, 4 hours, like 4 weeks, 4 years, till she's, you know, I don't know. I don't need to know. I don't know. The same applies for you. The same applies for me. We don't know. We sit with this unknown all the time, and it's hard. It's uncomfortable. But that's life. Like, you know, we honestly don't know. I have an intuitive feeling myself but I don't know. And I sit with this and I share with you that life is unknown. Life is uncertain, you know. I could have had this conversation with her. I could go before her. We just don't know what's in store for us. We just don't know what's around the corner for us. But if I can leave you with anything, try and get so much more connected with your soul. Have those beautiful moments. Some of those moments that I've shared with you, I've had over this weekend, you know, like even having the conversations with Tom last night, having the conversations with our friends, having the conversations with my grandmother, sitting at dinner, like with my little niece on my lap, just looking into her soul with her curiosity and her humor, and just having these really beautiful moments. The moments I've had all weekend, like just being out in the sun, being out swimming, being connected. I've just had one of those moments. I had so much more on my to-do list this weekend. It went all out the window. I didn't care because I just really felt like I needed to have these moments this weekend and just share and encourage you to have these beautiful moments as well where you're so connected. You know, I was listening to Xavier Rudd's song last night as well, Come Let Go. And it's just one of those like beautiful reggae type songs. We love playing that kind of music here. And so I went up, I said, Tom, I'm going to go have a shower. And I went up to to my bedroom. This song was still playing. And it's like I had no control of my body. I was just dancing. I was just listening to this song, Come Let Go, and just listening to the words. And I was just dancing in my bedroom. If he walked up, he's used to me now, it's fine. But it's like I just didn't have a care in the world. I was just so at one with my body that it was like my body wasn't moving. It was like the soul and the words from his song was just moving me and moving through me. And it just felt so light, just felt so effortless, and it just felt so beautiful. It was just one of those moments where I want to encourage you to have those same moments in your own way. Not the same as me, but in your own way, with what aligns for you, what feels good for you, where you get out of your head more and you get into your soul more. You get out of the busy mind and you get into your body. You get out of meaningless conversations, shallow conversations, and you just get connected and have deep, meaningful conversations, because that's what life is about, right? We've become so conditioned to be wanting material things, wanting money, wanting all of this stuff, worrying about what people think, putting on a mask and a facade for other people, putting on these, you know, these masks of what we put out on social media, that life's so perfect, life's so, you know, wonderful, like this representation of not what is really us. Get back to your authenticity, get back to your heart and soul, get back connected to people, connected to yourself, connected to nature, connected to love, connected to that beautiful energy that is all around, because that's where it's at, my friends. Like, that's where you find more fulfilling, meaningful purpose in life, is having those moments, being in the present moment. I really want to encourage that with you. I'm going to leave that with you. Have the most amazing day. Have the most amazing moments in your life. And I have so much love for you. I have so much love for all the beautiful people around me, so much love for my community, so much love for you that is listening. I just feel the more I connect with my heart and soul, the more I feel so much love for life and for being alive and for all of these beautiful souls around me, that I want to inspire you to find more love in your heart too, angels. Have the most beautiful day. So much love to you. Bye.